Yeah, he looks sexy. Okay, we are up. We are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday night. It is DJs talking about DJ stuff here, and we'd like to thank you for coming on with us tonight. And we've got the whole crew is with us. I think everyone who is going to be here is here. We need a party.
Yay!
We should
We are the party.
This is all we're going to have? Come on now.
Well, geez, you sent me your notes, and
we only have we have to. It's not a party till you kick someone out, and if we kick someone out of this small party, it's not going to be much of a party.
And it's always the Mexican they kick off first.
Well, and there's our getting offensive to some ethnic group.
Wait, you're Mexican? I thought you were Irish.
Today I'm Irish, black Irish. Hi.
That's pretty good.
If you guys are watching, by the way, for the presenting team, make sure that your audio on your YouTube player is off so it doesn't come feeding back through the show. But we are up, and it looks like the stream is good. Yay! So tonight we are going to be talking about bars and clubs. This kind of went along with the Tuesday tips that I did last week on the Disc Jockey News. Tuesday tips, DJNTV's Tuesday tips. We talked about some ideas for getting your foot in the door at bars, and we just kind of scratched the surface. And I wanted to dig into that more tonight, so we put that out there, and we've had feedback since I put that out there. Goodness, I've had I think 7 or 8 emails from a lot of you out there who've shared some tips or asked questions, and then of course I threw it out to MJ, and MJ wrote a dissertation.
Wait,
that was just me taking notes, John.
3 pages, single spaced, like it looked like it was like 5 points.
I did that while I was editing videos and taking phone calls.
Yeah. So we're gonna dig into it a little bit tonight. Now each of us are coming from a little bit different background. Myself, I'm pretty much a wedding guy. MJ is pretty much what you would consider a club. I think Shaney, you're kind of a combination. You do club work, you're doing mobile work, so you're kind of all back and forth. Jake, you're kind of you do some karaoke things, you do some bar things, and Mike, I think you and I are probably the wedding guys of this crew, and then Juan is here for
moral support.
Moral support. Actually, Juan does quite a bit with karaoke. He's done karaoke. He's done some club stuff. He's done some spinning.
What is karaoke?
Okay,
Thank you.
Quiet.
I don't do karaoke. I do karaoke.
Karaoke.
Thank you.
Okay.
Karaoke is technically the proper pronunciation, but
Okay. Fine.
I say it the way Hollywood says it.
Okay. So those guys do that singing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. La 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 la.
I honestly thought Juan was here because this was the classroom that he was going to be helping teach in from now on. I thought we were the students.
We are. He'll be going through our math and grading our papers a little bit later. He's got his red ink pen somewhere. He'll be.
English is a second language.
Are we starting off already?
We are. We started off, and we haven't offended anyone yet. But Juan sure.
English is my second language, and it's the only one I speak.
Yeah. So we'll work on it.
So let's just jump in. I wanted first before we talk about how to get into bars or how to do different things. Let's kind of define. And MJ, you had kind of broken it down into what each between bars and lounges and such. So let's kind of dig into that first and kind of define these things, because in order for us to discuss them later, I think we really kind of need to have a kind of a groundwork of defining those things. So kind of lead us in that one, would you please?
Okay. I kind of broke it down into kind of like the way we've always looked at it, like DJs who've always done this. I've been DJing almost 28 years now, and each place you're at, you're going to look at it differently. You're going to play different music. You're going to have a different mentality. The audience is going to have a different mentality. The managers are going to have a different mentality. So you kind of have to know what you're getting into before you go. Like I said, tonight we're talking about getting gigs. So you really need to know what's going on before you get there or try to get a gig or whatever. So we break it down in different categories, and the thing to check first is what we call real estate. How much real estate inside the building is dedicated to bars or a dance floor? So if most of the real estate inside is dedicated to a dance floor, it's a club. If most of the room is dedicated to drinking, it's a bar. If something like a lounge is a bar that has a lot of couches, So it's a lot of sitting area. So that can be lounge where they don't necessarily have a dance floor, but you're not standing at a bar either. You have restaurants that have music that plays. You have restaurants that clear out chairs and tables on weekends to have a dance floor. And anything else is just kind of other places that you might play music. So club, yeah, like I said, you have to think of a big floor. Bar is pretty much that you're playing music to people who are standing around drinking, no dancing, nothing like that. Lounge will give you chairs and areas to sit and relax. Restaurant or the restaurant club is obviously that. So.
And I see it, and I think from my perspective, where I'm at, I'm kind of in a rural area, so the only one I can really resonate with, truthfully, is the bar, because we don't have the lounge idea. When you mention that, it's like, oh yeah, I've been in a few of those. I've not performed, but I mean, I have physically been. But we really don't have some of the other things the way you described their demographics and such. Now, Shani, I would think in Chicago that you probably are on the other side, where you've probably experienced more of that club and lounge experience.
We have everything. We have it all. We have the bars, we have the clubs, we have the lounges, we have the after parties that go to 5 a.m. We have everything. I personally myself I DJ in the lounge spots. I DJ in the restaurants. We just now opened up STK Steakhouse, which is out of Vegas and Beverly Hills. They just opened up Chicago one. A bunch of us are all spinning there. And it's exactly what it is. It's a steakhouse. Is there a dance floor? No. I mean, if anybody's ever eaten there in Vegas while they're out there, that's exactly what the layout is. And it's got, Pioneer mixers, CDJs. I mean, it's got the ultimate DJ booth that you would ever want while you're spinning either a mobile gig or a club gig. They have like the god of all, equipment there, and it's just a restaurant. And you're spinning for the patrons that are eating their bone-in ribeyes and their red wine and, their twice-baked potatoes.
Interesting.
So we have everything. And then on the flip side, I'm, doing a mobile event. And then from there, I have an opening DJ that's at a club, and then I'm coming in second in hand with my, backpack, and I'm opening up my laptop and I'm pushing them out of the way, and I'm on at 1 a.m. and I'm getting the place hyped up, and I'm getting the dance floor packed. So we got everything going on by us.
Yep. I'll talk about all that later. Absolutely. Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. Jake, what's your experience now where you're kind of, you're not quite in the more urban environment by any means, but you're in a little bit bigger city than I'm at.
Yeah, well, I think the bar scene here for me is more, it's more out of necessity, and B, it's a great spot to find future brides and grooms because they're going to be in the bars. And obviously, similar to what you have, is we have mostly all bars here, no clubs, no real lounges, and anything that's in that scene is not really what I do personally. It's more, more bar entertainment type thing. And I think for me, it's a variety of, as you know, if you're in a rural area, when you go into a small town bar, obviously they think that you're there to make them dance, but they don't really want to dance. What they want to be is entertained and hear some music. So if you are not careful, you turn into a glorified jukebox. So one of my rules of thumb is always is have an entertainment avenue when you arrive. And I never go to a bar and sell myself as a DJ because people don't go to bars to hear DJs. They go to clubs to hear DJs. They don't go to bars to hear DJs. And they can play the music they want to hear out of the jukebox. So what I have to do is bring something extra, something above and beyond, whether that's karaoke, whether that's a promotion, the promotion that spans the length of a period of time, for example, where maybe you get other people involved. And that's really where you succeed on the long term, is by getting other people, other vendors, other avenues and outlets involved with the promotion, so it becomes a big promotion, not just hey, I'm going to come in here on Saturday and play music till 1 a.m. and go home. And that's really what sets me apart from the other people in this market that play music that way also, is creating that party atmosphere, I guess, if you will, so to speak.
Sure.
In the end of the day, it's all pretty close to the same.
Mm-hmm. In some ways, yeah. There would be some similarities.
Even when you break it down from, karaoke is so easy and so popular in where I'm at. But even when I break that down, there are different types of karaoke shows that I'll do depending on the bar that I'm at. Some bars, people come in and sing. It's a matter of filtering singers rather than getting singers. And in some places you go, like I've done some casino bars. Well, nobody at a casino wants to go to the lounge, have a cocktail, and sing karaoke in a casino. They just don't. So what happens is it turns into more of, a lounge act type entertainment, like where I'm singing the songs, telling the jokes, getting people involved, but not expecting them to come up, look through a book, sign up for a song, and then wait their turn to sing. Those things are different. So you have to kind of weigh that similar to the real estate and decide, what do I want to do? How am I going to do it? And then, attack from there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that does. You're getting ahead of us a little bit there, but that was some good stuff there. Good stuff.
I'm a fast speaker, John. You got to keep up with me.
Yeah. No, it's not. You have attention deficit disorder. We've been around each other long enough to know that.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. You see, there's a light behind you.
I'm talking to a guy who's in his vehicle right now because I'm at my band practice. I stepped out to do this. That's why it looks funny with my video, sitting in my car doing this.
Well, it's really the people who are outside looking in and saying, what the hell is that man doing looking at his crotch?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Jeremy. Now you're going to be coming at it from a little bit different perspective, probably similar to myself, where we basically are wedding DJs, and I don't know, in your early days, if you had much experience doing some of the clubs in the area or where you're at. So,
yeah, we do a lot of barn gigs out here, a lot of hoedowns. So, no,
I wasn't going there. I said weddings.
Yes, don't bring up the host. No, we actually we don't do so much with bars. We used to do trivia and things like that. And, for me to, next thing you know, you're doing a Thursday night. Next thing you know, they want to do a Saturday night. Well, it doesn't make sense for me to send a guy out on a Saturday night for $125 to $200 a night when I can send him out for $2,000 a night. So we kind of shied away from doing those, and we kind of got ourselves into working with like the country clubs. We actually just did they had a crab leg feed. And we were just an ambient DJ in the background. And then next thing you know, it wasn't made for a dance. It wasn't the idea, but, people were coming out, they were dancing, and, it just kind of happened that way. So, yeah, we don't really dabble too much in the bars just because, again, for us, it's not, it just doesn't make sense for me to send out an entertainer for those type of shows when we could be capitalizing on private events yet.
Juan.
Yes, sir.
What's your experience been when you've because I know you've done a few off and on back, when you were younger.
Yeah.
But now, So what's your experience been, and what type of events or venues were you able to get into? What types of, like, as MJ kind of broke them down?
Well, nowadays I just do bars for karaoke, but because these days the DJ industry has kind of changed so much here in the Twin Cities. It's so saturated with a lot of younger DJs, and they come in and just taking up all the spots in some of these clubs and bars, and I just can't compete for $75 or $150 a night. So for me, it's not even worth it anymore to do the DJ clubs. So I do the karaoke because I like it. I like singing. I like entertaining the guests that come in and these bars and stuff like that. So
it's really kind of building off what Jake was talking about, where he changed your show from the standard karaoke.
Yep.
To more. Okay, I'm sorry, man. I'm trying. From the standard though to where you're more of a performer now with your show.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Mike, where are we at?
Sorry, go ahead.
Mike, what's your experience? Where are you at with things?
Well, I'm in Louisiana, and here we have our casinos are a little bit different than what was described earlier. It's more of a building that's full of machines, full of gambling, and has a bar over in a corner somewhere. There is no dance floor. People are smoking and sitting at gambling machines all night, and you're playing music, not so much for dance, but just making sure that the patrons are having a great time. We have bars, we have hole-in-the-wall places, we have karaoke, we have all that stuff. But I don't pursue any of that stuff in my off time. I don't have a lot of off time, and it's primarily because what I've done is looked at my calendar and fill those months with other activities. So, for example, right now we're doing some heavy duty editing in our studio on a weekly basis for our Mardi Gras cruise that'll be coming up. Our Mardi Gras balls start in January, and it's a local thing, and so it's really big here. And then once that starts taking place, we're editing music for dance recitals. Everybody has a local dance school in your area, and those people need edited music for their recitals and shows. And so for us, we've filled in our holes with other kinds of activities, still music related. Everything is tied back to music in some way. But then there's also the internet where you can do a lot of cheerleading mixes and ballroom mixes and stuff. So I spend my time in those endeavors rather than doing the $150 bar gig.
Yeah, and I think the other show concept is something we need to dig into, because in MJ's 17 pages of notes that he sent over to me, there was one page that he had just other types of events, and there were some things on there. It's like, oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that. So it was a really good list. I think what we'll do is we'll compile our notes, and that'll be one of our future shows here, maybe in early December. We'll have to look at that, but.
One of the things I'd like to kind of ask Mike, I guess, while we're a little bit on that topic. So how do you charge a client for doing a cheerleading mix or doing doing some of those things? How do you charge the client for that?
It's difficult to gauge just on a one-off, like in a quick conversation. We have to dive a little deeper into what exactly they want. And on my website, I put a layout sheet, and we asked them to fill out that layout sheet and send it to us. And basically, because if you were going to ask me to remove the middle of a song and put it together, and now this 4-minute song is now 2 minutes long, and that's all you needed was a single splice, that's going to be much cheaper than if I've got to make 50 splices and put in 25 sound effects and start layering in these sounds and remastering everything, changing tempos, changing this. So what we have found is it's cheaper and better and safer for everybody to do a hourly rate per project rather than try to give a fixed price on the unknown. Because so many times they'll change their mind as we create a draft, and we'll send them a proof copy, a watered down quality, but a proof copy for them to listen to. They'll want to make some changes, and their original ideas maybe aren't, once they hear it, it's not quite exactly what they wanted. So it's not the editor's fault. It's their imagination that failed. So for us, it works better to charge by the hour.
And if you need help with any of those Mardi Gras balls, give me a call. I'll be happy to come down.
We do those, man, dude. We got them. We do big balls here. We're a city of about 150,000, and next to New Orleans, we're right there. We're next to the best of them.
Yeah, especially when that's January, and you're a lot warmer than we are up here.
Yeah. It's not party mode around here.
Yeah, well, we party up here too, but usually it's with mittens and shovels. A different party.
We don't have that.
Yeah, not so much. Let's go.
MJ weather year round.
Yeah, you got really nice weather there. Let's kind of go in a little bit different direction now, because MJ brought this up, and I think that this could be something we want to kind of dig into. And he brought the idea up that we, as wedding guys, of course, we are doing our during the season shows. I'm doing weddings or whatever I'm doing in the summertime. But then we get into these cooler months, and a lot of the wedding guys are going into, in our case, their bars, and there's really no entertainment in the summer because they don't want to compete with summer. But in some situations, like in MJ's part of the world, now these wedding DJs are now coming in and wanting to compete price-wise with club guys. So MJ, just kind of start us out a little bit with that, and what you've experienced, and let's kind of walk through that and discuss some of the things that you've seen and what we've seen in that situation.
This article, dissertation, whatever you want to call it, I wrote, I think I am going to expand upon it and put it out there for people, or if John wants to split it up in different shows. But there is so much in depth depending on where you're going. As a wedding DJ, to step into some of these environments, if you can't mix, you're going to be in trouble. And I don't mean in trouble as in won't get hired. I mean, there's a chance you're going to get beat up if you're trying to take a gig and you're not coming in with some sort of DJ club. And I'm not joking. I'm like dead serious, to where I've heard of guys paying some big brute $100 to walk up to a DJ who isn't mixing with a controller, punch the guy, knock him out so that he can't come back and work anymore. It is a very good old boys type mentality. I break down on how to get into some of these places. And like when it comes to the clubs, unless you're a friend of the DJ, a friend of the owner, a friend of the manager, or famous or popular enough to bring a lot of people in, you will never get in. So there's just no chance. For the bars and stuff, like I said, in our area here in Pittsburgh, everybody and their brother's a DJ. So every bar or restaurant that has one, you've got several people competing in it, people coming in all night going, hey, hey manager, I'll do it for this amount. I'll do it for this amount. And it's just constant battling and bickering on an $80 a night job. You will get competitors. I mean, it's just as simple as that. What was the question, John?
Well, that was pretty much it.
Why do you love clubs?
I like them because I know I've been in it long enough that I know how to control it in the sense of what my job is. And I'm big enough not to let people push me around. I have put people on the chopping block before. I filled in for a guy and he didn't pay me. And pretty much now there is no club in the city that will ever hire him because he stiffed me on, was it $250? And he can't work anywhere now. He's completely unable to DJ in the city in any club or bar because nobody will touch him. So it's that kind of thing like that. But there are ways to get in, and do you want me to go over what I had written down there on ways to sneak into a bar?
Let's not go there yet. Let's talk about it and see if others have experienced that same. And I'm going to define it as like a hostility. I want to expand upon what I said about the controller and stuff coming in DJing with just a laptop. If you're in a club, you have to work with Serato and control vinyl. No controllers. You might be able to get away with CDJs, but nothing else. So if you run a controller, maybe an NS7 once in a while, because that's kind of considered, but absolutely nothing else. I know clubs that will not let anybody in them if you don't spin with vinyl, period. You cannot use anything else. Interesting. Shani, you would probably be the closest to having a similar experience. Have you seen things like that where there is such I don't want to call it a good old boys club, but basically that there's an animosity if someone new comes in?
Well, it's so different now than when I was actually going to the clubs and dancing. Back then when I used to go out and I was a dancer, we used to follow the DJ. Whatever a DJ was playing, we didn't care what club they were playing at. We always wanted to know who the DJ was that I was at the club. We didn't care what club it was, who was promoting, what area we were going in. We always followed the DJ. Things have changed now, especially in Chicago, because so many different promoters are in clubs now and so many different clubs are changing. I mean, in Chicago, clubs open up every month. I can't even keep track of like the clubs, but they're also closing here all the time because it's Chicago. They're like restaurants here. You got to be able to keep them open because, everyone wants to try to open up a club and keep it open and keep it the hot spot. But, they also have the really young guys that think that they're the DJ. We all get them at the parties that, hey, I'm a DJ too. What are you using on your computer? Where do you get your music? We always, just like what we get at our mobile events. Yeah. I get them when I'm at the club. I get those young guys and those college kids walk right over to the owners and say, hey, I'll come, I'll spin for free if you get all my boys in here and get me a tab. Give me $50 and a tab. And they're like, oh, okay, guess what? Now they're getting their well-known DJ who knows how to spin, who knows how to mix, who is well-known, might be on the radio, all this, kicking that person out to get this young buck who I call him DJ Filter because all he's doing is just
twist the knobs.
Nice.
That's all he's doing is twisting knobs because he doesn't know how to mix, and his boys are in the booth with him, and they're, yeah, this is hot, yeah, and they're just drinking up a storm, and he thinks it's the best night, and he's social mediaing out that he's at the hottest club, but then within like 3 weeks, he's not there anymore because they just lost all their patrons going to another club, and then guess what? then we get the phone calls again. I'm sorry, I screwed up. So, it's funny. And that's why there's not a lot of resident DJs in Chicago anymore. We all used to be resident DJs. None of us are resident DJs anymore. And not because we're mobile DJs on the weekends. It's because of all this that's going on. And there's so many clubs now. So now when people are like, well, where are you spinning at? I'm like, I'll let you know that week. Because I'm not a resident on a Thursday night anymore. I'm not a resident on a Wednesday night anymore. I'm not a resident on a Sunday anymore. I'll let you know that week when I get the phone call that, hey, can you DJ at this spot? I'm like, yeah, I'll do a 3-hour spot. This is how much I charge. I'll come in. Tell me what equipment you have there. Great. Oh, it's USB. Fine. I'll come in with USB. Oh, I need my Serato box. All right, cool. Then I'll do 2 hours and I'll do this. And I want my cash when I walk in the door.
Interesting.
I have the perfect
That's the old school people.
Yeah.
Guess who's opening for me? Those little young bucks and his little Wu-Tang clan of 50 people that are all hanging out that I'm like, can you all move so I can set up my stuff? And don't touch my stuff because I will knock you out.
I have a perfect story to go along exactly with what she's saying. There used to be what she's talking about, the short clubs opening and closing. There's always been what's called a 1,000-day rule in clubs. And give or take, you got to think that's 3 years. That's the average time a person turns 21 until they're about out of college and getting married and stuff like that. And they don't go out so much. So a club always had a 1,000-day rule so that after 1,000 days, you are no longer considered relevant to the younger people. All right, so things change. As for the kid coming in, the kid that I told you that no one will hire anymore, I was opening up for him one night, okay? And this guy can't DJ to save his life, and he's even worse human being. And I don't talk crap on DJs, and this is stuff I've said to his face, so I have no problem saying it. But I'm setting up for him, setting up myself to be the opening DJ that night. And the manager of the place always got his staff for meetings talking about, okay, we're going to push this drink special tonight and this and that. And he goes, oh, by the way, he goes, you guys should start talking to his bartenders and stuff. You guys should start putting people on your guest list. Our head DJ tonight got his main spot on the night because he had 50 people on his guest list last week and they all showed up. That's why he's DJing tonight.
Wow.
And that's what they want. And if you look at this list that I put together, like I said, I want to put it out there on every single type of venue, bar, club, lounge, restaurant. There is one thing that will guarantee you work. If you're famous or popular enough to bring people in. It doesn't matter if you suck as a DJ. If you can bring people in, you will guaranteed be hired.
Just recently, I had a phone call, and that was the first question they asked me, how big is my following?
Yes, they want you. I've had places that go, you have to sell 100 tickets to be the DJ.
They want you to social media.
Yeah.
The minute you get hired, they're going to say, send us your flyer, send us your promo, or send us your picture, send us your DJ name, whatever, in a PDF, in a vector, in a whatever. And then they'll send it back to you and they say, tweet it. So, Facebook it, Instagram it, social media out it, put it out to everybody because we want to see who's coming in. I mean, like in Chicago, guest lists close at midnight. So even like DJ guest lists, close at midnight, but you could still say, hey, I got, a couple people in, but they want to see, how many people come in. But in my opinion, and this is coming in club scene and also in mobile scene, I don't care how much music you have. I don't care what you're DJing on, because I'll DJ on a MacGyver type equipment if I have to. If you know how to program, and you know how to mix, and you know how to read your crowd, it's going to be the best night of your life. That's just my opinion. If you know how to program it and you know how to read your crowd, that's just me. That's just me saying, if you know how to read that crowd and you know what you're doing, like in a club scene, then you're going to get them all eating out of the palm of your hand. And I believe that in all types of events, whether it's club, whether it's mobile events. If you know how to read what's going on in front of you, you see that they're just all pumped up, and you see, I have a young crowd in front of me, so I'm not going to play this type of music. But if I have to, hit the Quan, because even though I did it 2 hours ago and I don't normally play songs twice, but I'll make the exception because if it's going to bring more people out and more people just got here, and I'll play a remix version of it that I didn't play, that's a twerk version that drops the bass and they didn't hear it yet and they're going to go crazy, I'm going to play it. And just like in my mobile events, if I know how to program it and I can mix it well, for me, then I'm going to have a hot night. That's just the way I think when I do my club gigs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going back to all of that, how you guys were explaining, you have to have this following and you have to social media everything. I mean, and maybe that's why I just don't have the ambition to go after this type of stuff. It's just so political. I mean, how do you guys live every week with that whole mentality that you have to basically become this politician? How do you guys?
Well, that's for me, that's for the club stuff. Now, I do the lounge stuff as well. And the lounge stuff that I do is very chill. And that's more of like, I call that kind of like Miami vibe, where it's not dancing. And the lounges that I'm at in Chicago is kind of like, I call it like the pretty people, you know, where they just kind of sit there and they just kind of do this with their drink in their hand, like, ooh, I like this song.
They're very expensive drink in their hand.
Oh yeah, they're $10. Yeah, they're $10.
Yeah, $10, $15, $20 drink. Yeah.
But that's also the who's who that they're going to get written up in the paper. Now they'll tell me I can social media, but I don't have to, because people always go to these spots regardless, but they like to have the live music and they like to have the vibe. So those places, no matter if I'm there or somebody else is there, they're gonna have a crowd no matter what, because that's the who's who spot. So the lounges, I don't need to do things. The clubs, yeah, because they want to stay open and they don't want to close their doors, so they figure they got a hot DJ. Then that hot DJ is gonna help them out, besides the promoter and the promoter's little, I don't want to say bitches, but the promoter's little bitches that he's got working for them there. There's the street people.
Street team.
The street team, thank you. I was like, there's street team. The street team.
Neighborhood.
Yes. The street team, and those people, like, Jerry, those people are like on the street putting flyers on cars. And I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Are they like the ones you see in Vegas going trying to hand out those cards?
No, those are for the nude women, right?
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, it was like, you like ladies? Yeah, no.
Direct to you.
Yeah.
I look at
DJ Jet. Yeah, no, that's something different.
Not again.
I look at pretty much any event I do in the way that you're talking about promoting the clubs. I don't care if it's a restaurant, a bar, a club. I'm pumping out at least 3 times a week about that event. 2 of them are at least flyers. One of them is a text. Every single one of them is tagged. So you tag the place. If there's a promoting company, you tag the promoting company. On your regular site, about anything and everything, you should be dropping at least 3 times a day about something, an event, a song, a picture, something. Every day, all the time.
I don't do it that much. I'm not gonna lie. I do it like twice.
I look at it like basically I got this information that I picked these numbers. I look at the corporations that are successful on Twitter and Facebook and all this. And I'm talking like big names like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Barnes and Nobles, not even Barnes and Nobles, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Restaurants. That's the way they look at it. And that's the way I look at my businesses. I am the brand that's out there, and I'm going to push it that way.
Oh, agreed. I mean, the more you push it and the more they see that your night is bringing the most people, the more they're going to want you there all the time. Agreed. And then they see that other people are going to see it because it's social media. So other venues are going to see it, and then they're going to call you. And that's how you get the business. That's how DJs get it. And then they're going to say, hey, I know you're spinning at so-and-so place, but if you're there on Friday, maybe you could come here on Thursday. Or if you have an open Friday, we would love you to try out our spot because we see that you're great at what you do. And you're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. A lot of you guys are thinking like, oh, that's a lot of work, but think about how much money you put into advertising at bridal shows and advertisements and, the Knot and all that kind of stuff. We put no money into it. We just put time.
It's second income too. It's extra income for me because I'm doing it after my mobile gigs. Like I'm doing my mobile gigs and I'm doing it after, or I'm doing it on a Wednesday night. I'm doing it on a Thursday night. I'm doing it on a Friday after a school party. So like I'm doing a school party that ends at 9:00. And then I'm at the lounge starting like at 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah. So I have a lot of double Fridays too.
Yeah. So I'm doing it afterwards, or I'm doing it where I get done with my events on a Saturday at 11:30, and I'm hitting a 1 a.m., set. So I'm doing it that way.
Just that's such a different world from and Jake, I think you and I are, because again, being in the similar geographic region, I don't think I've ever had a situation, a double booking where I've been able to do the bar afterwards, or even as they're talking about. I've never had a bar owner, ask me about my following. I guess it's just around in most small town bars, it's like their job to get them there, and then they expect me to keep them in most cases. Maybe you've experienced something different, Jake.
Actually, in Mankato, especially, which is not by any means a big market, but it happens to be the market that I'm in. That in the proper itself, most of the bar owners, that's the first question. Well, where's your people? Who's
really?
coming in? And because there's, again, we're a college town and a small college town, which means we have more bars than we have people. So they're always competing. And I used to do a Tuesday night karaoke show of all things. And that guy was constantly on me. Well, I didn't see you put anything on Facebook. I didn't see it. And I would tell him because this is the difference between my market and, say, Chicago and Pittsburgh, is I would tell him flat out, your job is to promote and to advertise. My job is to entertain them when they get here. So, don't look for me to do that, because with the exception of a few people that really, really like to sing karaoke, which, by the way, are not bar owners' favorite people because they don't drink. They come in, they want a certain version of a song, they want to drink soda, they want free refills, and they're mad if you do too many duets or you don't even mess up the order. They're too high maintenance, they don't spend enough money. So those are the only people, though, that follow specific karaoke shows. Otherwise, the main people in Mankato will complain about you not having a following, or where's your people, are they coming out, what are they doing? When you get to the smaller towns, the rural areas, that's, I think, more what you're on the same page with there, John, where they just know, like, oh, hey, Jake Palmer's going to be at this, going to be at the bar on Saturday, and it's the bar. There might be another bar, but that doesn't matter because Jake's at this one on Saturday. So it's not the same thing, because your following is only going to be so big and so much. Unlike in this part of the country, or this area, I should say, this market, bands have a following. Bands, people will follow a band, they'll go wherever they're playing. You don't get that so much with your DJs, because again, we're not, the DJ aspect of what we do in a smaller rural bar is really just a glorified jukebox. Where you get a following is when you become more than the jukebox, when you have a cool karaoke show that people want to be a part of, or that's entertaining to everyone, or you have a DJ show that's more than just spinning music and playing songs. It's a little bit of everything. And it's funny too, because one of the things that I've always preached to younger DJs in smaller communities is turning over your dance floor. Like, okay, we've had all these people out here dancing the top for a set and a half or 2 sets. Now we're going to play some country so that the top 40 people sit down and order drinks, and the country people get up and come out and dance. Because, and I say this half jokingly, but mostly serious, to all of my bar patrons at even especially karaoke shows. I say, I don't care if you sing or not. My job is not here to be here so you can sing. My job is to sell drinks. So if you want to drink, have a good time, and don't ever come up to me and say, hurry up and play my song because I have to go. Because the minute you say we're going to leave after I play your request, then I'm never going to play it, because I get paid to sell drinks, and I'm not here to make you happy so you can leave and go across the street to see the live band, or dance for the cool DJ because he has turntables or whatever. So it's a difference of, a different world completely, obviously, from a Chicago or even from a Minneapolis, what Juan's dealing with down here.
So let me ask a question to the people in the smaller cities that have like some bars out there. Have any of you ever tried approaching any of the owners of any of the bars that you see are pretty crowded, or that look like could handle some DJ equipment in there that maybe you would want to provide with it, and say, hey, we Thursday night looks like it's a party night because of the crowd that's been here. Why don't we get together, and maybe I would love to try to do something with you where I would bring in some equipment and do a night with you that maybe would just start with some background, where I would just put some background and maybe ease, and then you just tell them we're doing background, but then throughout the night, you personally feel off the crowd, and you play with it, and you build it up, and you build it up, and you build it up, and you're playing some top 40, you go Black Eyed Peas, you do this, do that. Next thing you know, by the end of the night, you got people dancing, and the owner's like, oh my God, where do we sign a contract? Let's get something going. Let's do this.
I could tell you in all honesty, Yeah, for sure. I've tried that. I've done that. And the problem, and this is again because of the small community that we live in, we don't have the population to draw from, is where you run into the problem. And most of the bar owners, like the bar owners I deal with down here, especially in the dirty South, they're rural bar owners. In a lot of cases, for example, I use Mankato as close to urban as you're going to get in the market that I'm in. You have
Where is Mankato? I'm sorry, I don't even know where Mankato is.
That's my point. We're 45 minutes south of the Twin Cities.
Okay, all right. Now I know what we're talking about. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. But the thing we run into is at the bars in Mankato, for example, you have really you have 3 or 4 types of bars. You have college bars, which they want to.
Which is a good place to start with.
Yeah, but what you have with the college bars is what I'm sure you have at a lot of places you have that you run into, is that you have college bars where if they have music, it's got a house sound system already in place where they're playing music and they want people to be part of that. And they usually have a guy they're paying $8 an hour and they're giving him drinks and he's doing his thing. Sometimes you can get that guy out of the way, but what you run into is that these bar owners are skittish and they're small town and they're small minded. The guys who really understand how the bar business works are already successful, are already doing that, and they own 3 or 4 bars in town. And the other guys say, Thursday night's already a party night for me. Why would I pay you to come in and change the scope of it? And I know it sounds negative, I agree. But when you sit down and you talk to them, they're like, oh, the other thing you run into is that they're never, ever, ever going to sign a contract. And if they do, they're never, ever going to honor it. The first bad night, they're going to fire you and they're going to go, I don't give 2 shits about your contract. And that's just small town. That's the difference between reputable business people dealing with reputable DJ companies and small town people dealing with college kids who want to bring their 12 buddies and hey, look at what I can do kind of a thing. You know,
what about a restaurant? What about one of the big restaurants there?
Sure. Some of the restaurants are kind of into that. The downside, again, is that the ones that are open to those conversations, and again, I've talked to all of them, the ones that are open to those conversations, typically they don't want to make a long-term commitment. And what they also realize is that easier for them to get live entertainment, and it's cheaper because they'll get a 2 or 3 piece acoustic thing or one guy playing a piano, do his thing. And then what they run into is like, oh, you're playing in the lounge of the restaurant. Now when the restaurant closes and we're done with our dinner service, I've got these 5 people that want to hang around and drink because they're requesting songs from the DJ, where in the long run, it's cheaper for them to shut the doors and kick those 5 people out because they're not going to make the money back to pay me and to pay the lights and bills and the waiter.
And that's right. But that's also when you tell them, like, if you promote it, you go tonight and you have drink specials. But that's, you know, and I'm just saying for other people who are like maybe going to be watching this on YouTube and everything,
yeah.
For them to think about, you know, maybe doing, if they're saying like, how do I break into doing this type of thing in a smaller city? I don't know what to do. How do I do what everybody else is doing? Something to think about.
And those are exactly the things I would tell everybody that I've ever trained, especially in the bar business. And I can tell you firsthand that some of the best bars I've ever worked with are not, I keep hearing references earlier to dance floors. Some of the best bars I've ever worked with, some of the wildest parties I've ever done have been at sports bars that don't have dance floors.
You don't need a dance floor. I don't need a dance floor to get people dancing. They could dance for, I say that to my clients all the time. We don't have a big dance floor. Great. Look crowded in there. Look like everybody's having a great time. I don't need a big dance floor.
Yeah, I have a once a month residency at a college bar here that is a long, skinny restaurant type thing. I don't even call it a restaurant. Think of it a long, skinny cafe, packed shoulder to shoulder, jamming the whole night. Just crazy. No dance floor, no lights, nothing gets dimmed down, nothing. So I agree. Yeah.
Shaney, you mentioned. Oh, you go ahead there. You can go ahead, Jake. We'll finish that thought.
I'm sorry. It comes back to what Shaney was saying about Chicago. It's just creating that vibe. It's creating that atmosphere of, hey, we're having a good time here, and this is what the scene is, and that is one of the things that I think some of the bigger markets have an advantage over some of the smaller markets, like what you and I deal with, even Juan to an extent in Minneapolis, is that the guy who owns a bar in a town that has 3 bars, he has to be everything to everyone. And I run into that problem in Mankato too, where I deal with bar owners who try to be everything to everyone, where I have some bars I work with in Mankato who go, this is what we do and this is how we do it. And if you don't fit into that vibe, well, you're welcome to leave, because this is the vibe we're creating. And who can do that because there's enough people to draw from. But if you're in a town that has a population of say 2,500 people or not even, and you have 4 or 5 bars, well, you have to appeal to everyone because you can't say, well, we're the top 40 bar, because there aren't enough top 40 fans to come in there and keep the register dinging all night to keep it going. So you have to be country and top 40 and rock and roll and karaoke and funny and not funny and smart ass and not a smart ass and a biker, but biker. And you have to be all those things to everyone. It's kind of like being a wedding DJ, really.
I've dealt with owners that told me to stop playing certain types of music or told me to play stop. Yeah. So I've dealt with it. I'm not going to get into all that, but no, I agree. I know. I got to, they tell me I don't want these type of people in the club to stop doing this, get into this, do that. So as much as I'm an open format DJ, they tell me what to do sometimes.
Yeah, no country.
I don't.
It's seriously, I have club owners that look at me, and not club owners, I'm talking bars, like, dink bars that go, I don't want to hear any country or any rock. Top 40 and keep it clean.
Yeah.
And that's what they want.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Was that a bad thing or what?
No.
And you know what? I've always dreamed of being a porn star. I wonder whose dream's going to come true first. I mean,
There goes the neighborhood.
There goes our PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, MJ,
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes.
As a part-time bar DJ, if you're filling in your holes and you're part-time and you don't have a following, then taking on the role of a DJ and a promoter seems counterintuitive.
No. If I didn't even have a gig at all, I would still be promoting. If I had looked at my calendar and said I don't have anything for the next month, I would still be promoting every day like I was the biggest DJ in the world. Promote your business, promote you as a brand. Like, I don't like to look at my company as the company. I am my brand. Like P. Diddy is his brand. It's not the business. It's not the songs. It's not the production. It's him. So I look at it that way. And it does, to me, like I said, I don't care if I'm doing that little college bar. I don't care if I'm donating my time to a fundraiser. I'm still promoting the exact same way.
Okay.
So did I answer that or not? I tend to ramble, so I'm really sorry. And I have this vibe.
The owner wants you there, and you're saying like, well, I don't really have a following, but I'll come and I'll DJ. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, basically, because
Just be honest.
like in my case as a wedding DJ, if I were going to try to fill in a hole in August sometime, and somebody, if the leading question is how many people do you have following you, the answer is 0.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Private events.
Don't say that. No, I'm serious. You don't say I have 0. You say I will social media. You give me something to social media out. I will get it out to anybody that follows me.
I'll call my mom. She'll be there. Yeah.
Don't say that either.
Have you ever partied with his mom? She's crazy, man. It's awesome.
Cool.
And now we've made the circle all the way back back to the New Orleans parties.
I love it. There we go.
Did I answer that right? Like I said, I just think you go in. If they ask you, do you have a following? You just say, we're going to build this night. Or if they already have a big successful night, then you go, we're going to capitalize on what you have.
I'm going to help you get this night, the most popular night, together, that it's going to be the hottest night that you have at this place.
But if you're filling in for just a season and then you're going to go back to your wedding DJs, at me as a person who's doing those regular club bars, I'm going to tell you, don't talk to the owner. Go away. Unless you're committing, I don't want to see you there.
Well, I think,
but if there's no DJ there, hustle it. Go get it. Absolutely.
And Michael, I think just not to, to play intermediate here. I think what he was saying is that if you are that part-time guy and you are just picking up a few of these shows to fill your calendar, and then you're going crazy on social media trying to create a following that you don't have, isn't that counterintuitive because you're marketing to people that don't exist? I think is that what kind of what you were asking?
No, because I think of it as if I'm at it's a perfect example. I did a junior high dance about 2 weeks ago, and there was a teacher there that's having her 40th birthday party. Now I'm DJing her 40th birthday party. So if you're DJing part-time at a bar and like you said, there's a young girl there that does that, you now maybe possibly get a birthday party or a wedding. So everything, you're marketing your business everywhere. You're marketing yourself as a club DJ, a bar DJ, a wedding DJ. I may primarily do clubs, but if somebody wants to pay me a lot of money, I'll do a wedding, even though I hate doing weddings. So everything you do, I think, whether you promote yourself as a bar person or not, you can have primarily directions to your business. I heard a guy one time say, you have to determine what your brand is. Are you going to be the Walmart of DJing? Are you going to be the Old Navy of DJing? Or are you going to be the Armani of DJing? So you kind of have to think what your brand is and go that direction. And if you want to vary off of that every once in a while, you can. I don't think it would hurt you to do the social media anywhere.
Yeah.
If I might just kind of throw something in here, just kind of thinking it from the part-time standpoint as well. I'm hearing some of the different conversations, and my viewpoint, I almost feel it might be better for us to come alongside, like, all right, build a relationship, a friendship with an MJ or with somebody who has this residency, and because we're not looking for something that we're going to be taking over. We're not looking for a residency per se in what we're going. I think a lot of these ideas are great, especially if you're wanting to get into that. I think that there's a lot of great tips that I've been hearing all night. If we're talking about filling these holes, we're talking about filling some of these gaps, I think the best thing that you can do is become a friend to an MJ or to Shaney or any of these other guys who have these residencies. So when, hey, you know what? I'm sick tonight and I need somebody to cover. And guess what? I know this guy can do it for me, and he's not going to screw your bar up for tonight. He's going to fill in for me, pay him the rate, and then, and go about it that way. I found that I did the residency for a while, and I'm in the small town, so I didn't have to promote, thank goodness. But I found that since I got out of that, and since I decided, you know what, my company is going to be weddings, it's going to be school dances. I'm not going to promote that part of the bar because I don't want the conflicting message being sent out there, and I don't have the time to set up two separate companies. I'm better off to make friends with those guys in my area, and when they need someone to fill in, they call me, and then I get that extra money for the night, and I don't go through all that extra hassle. I don't want to make it that way, but I mean, it's a lot of work. There's no roundabout way about it.
Yeah, I mean, I always love when I know in Chicago there's other DJs that say, hey, let me know when you have some, nights that you need covered, because like I said, because I still do all the mobile stuff. I mean, that is my bread and butter. Mobile events are my bread and butter. I do the club stuff as well. Like, that is my bread and butter too, but that's the after hours for me. So when somebody calls me and says, hey, we got this coming up, can you do it? But I can't do it because I have a huge event that's booked till 1 a.m. and it's all the way over here and their club is all the way this way. And by the time I get done and I talk to the client and I do this and it's 1:30 in the morning, I'm not going to get there. I want to make sure I send somebody that I know that's going to do a good job. I'll call up one of my friends that said to me, let me know. And I'm like, hey, by any chance, are you available Friday to cover for me? This is the contact person. I already told them all about you and you're just like me and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh my God, thank you. Yes, that's great. And we all do that. We help each other out like that. So exactly what you're saying is perfect.
I say that in my big, long dissertation that John has, that's one of the biggest things, that if you're not working one Saturday night, go out and make friends with the DJ, network, just go somewhere and hang out. I mean, how you get to go out and have a drink and hang out for a night and write that off as a business expense.
That's chapter 32 of the Bible, according to MJ.
I have a couple DJ friends that I network with very well that call me every now and then to see if I can work for them when they're not feeling good. So yeah, it's a very good opportunity, not only for yourself but for them too, to keep their business going.
Plus, it's going to prevent when you are talking to the owner or whatever from having the guy who has a good relationship suddenly badmouth you and everything else, because you don't know that person. You might be better off just go up and say hi and not the, oh, I'm a DJ too type of thing, but just, hey, just wanted to say hi, I'm a DJ, let's chat sometime when you're not mixing 30 songs in 2 minutes, but making a better tie together, and I think that that's, it's all about relationships. It's all about making the right connections at the right time. And again, if we're talking about doing this on a part-time, on a side thing, you different aspect, different way to really drill that home.
And kind of
Is
building
anybody
up.
doing the events where it's 100% video mixing?
Yeah, I video mix all the time.
Yeah, same here.
100%?
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
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 I have a guy here locally that just amazes me. I get
That's
to go
more
hang out
money.
with him.
When I video mix,
Yes.
it's more money.
Yep, same here. You want the video, it's extra
You want
money.
videos, that's more money than just audio.
Even if
Yeah,
I'm playing the
Dave.
same file, you're gonna
Oh
pay me
yeah,
more.
even
Yeah.
if it's my logo. Even this is my logo because I
That's
don't
right.
because I don't want to. I screwed up on my video and I threw my logo in. Oh yeah, Or it's my Will Smith Fresh Prince thing that just keeps popping up. Yeah, it's still more money.
That's cool. He does a great
and
job.
John,
I'm always
I'm
amazed.
still analyzing my music still. My stuff's still analyzing on my other computer.
No, you're
I want to chat with you sometime about that because mine runs dog slow anymore, and I don't know what I'm doing. So we'll talk another time.
I was going to say the mixed in key. She's been doing this for almost a day now. So
Oh yeah, that's gonna take some time.
I'm gonna analyze
Yeah.
till Friday probably with all my music.
maybe it's because, you offended a lot of people last week. And, those are the people who made your computer. I'm just saying.
I was offended.
Look, I already said I would do a formal apology if I had to.
Well, I wasn't offended, but I'd be willing to watch the formal apology.
Have we gotten to that point where we need to do that yet?
I don't know,
not
that's
yet.
what I said. I have no problem doing it if I have to.
Oh,
If I'll even just do it. I mean, if I offended anybody that watched it or heard about it, I completely apologize. It was all in good fun.
oh yeah.
I did not offend DJ Jar.
No.
Stop pointing to yourself like that. If anybody that listened to this saw it, heard about it, anything, it was all in good fun. We were just having fun. I didn't mean to offend anybody. But if anything, John was the one that started it. So I just went with it.
I'm up.
So
I'm over your
Yeah.
I
left
just
shoulder.
took it. I just took it to another level.
You did.
Well, he's over here for me. So
I'm
I
gonna
just,
go back to this thing. It must
I
have
was
been
thinking of the
awesome.
Brady Bunch thing. So I just took it to another level. But I do apologize if anybody was trash talking me. I'm sorry. It's all good. I don't mean it. I don't want to offend anybody.
She was
You guys
drinking
can talk
last week.
about
It's
me
okay.
all
Okay.
she's hitting hard stuff last week. It was.
We got it.
Is she on the show next week?
Next week I am. The week after I'm out of town doing corporate. So you could talk about me all you want.
Oh, she is seriously the topic the week after.
Yeah, the week after, talk about me all you want.
Open
What not
forum.
to be is a DJ. No, I'm kidding.
Oh. Well, gang, it is about 8:30. It's time for us to wrap up our night tonight. Kind of went a little bit different direction than we kind of thought, but I think it's something that we've got a lot of different avenues and a lot of different directions we can go, and I think we should really kind of probably break things down into smaller segments and talk about this over the winter months and such. Because there are people asking questions. One last question, and I want to try to get everyone's opinion on this. Somebody had asked, what's tougher to play for, a country crowd that is into country music or a hip hop crowd? So we're going to go around. We'll each answer this and give you a 2-sentence response to why that or the other, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's start. Mike, you are in the upper left-hand corner. Go ahead. You're first.
Country, and it's because so many of the weddings that I do prohibit country, don't want anything to do with it. So it's my rustiest genre.
MJ, you're next.
I can't answer that because I absolutely refuse to play country anywhere. If a place wants me to play country, I literally will say no. I'm not taking the job. Or if I'm working there and they go, "We want to start playing country," I'll quit. So I don't know.
It's a good thing you're not extreme.
But the hip hop stuff, I'll go there. I have friends that like, how in the world do you know that stuff? And I'm like, it's a chart half the time, or listen to a reality show's background music, or a commercial. It's all out there. So I don't know. I don't think there's a problem with anything.
Shaney.
I'm just going to have to say country because I don't play country on a regular basis because it's not requested here in Chicago and I don't DJ at country bars. But if a client at a mobile event requested country, I would make sure I do my history and get the music for them and know it. I have absolutely no problem playing hip hop. I love playing hip hop, especially old school hip hop that's before the year 2000. Love playing it, played it at all the conferences. So I love hip hop. So for me, it would just be country. But I play like the normal staples of like Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, that kind of stuff. But as far as the other country, I just don't play it because we don't do it here in Chicago.
Dan, you're next.
I'm going to say hip hop. Kind of go off of this a little bit. Country's a little bit bigger around here. Top radio station in my town is a country station. So to hear it, to know what it is pretty quick. Usually don't have much of a problem. A crowd that likes it. And with hip hop, I just feel like there's so much difference. What's hip hop to some? Some want the actual hard rapping, some want the more dancey Pitbull type style. That I found that when I get that, I have to start asking like 20 questions of, well, what are you considering this, or what?
Yep.
And then especially when you throw in the school dances, that's a whole different genre of what they want versus what is even on charts sometimes.
Jake.
Personally, I would say from a personal standpoint, I think the hip hop is harder because I don't know hip hop as well, but it's easier to play because it's a genre that when they want it, and all you have to do is pretty much match a sound and beats per minute, and you can keep the groove going and keep it moving. Country, when you're in a very hardcore country area, like I worked in Sioux Falls in South Dakota for a long time, where they expect, especially in a mobile setting like a wedding or some bars, they expect you to play three steps into 3 2-steps into 3 swings into a country cha-cha. There has to be a flow and there has to be a to it, and if you mess that up, they get mad.
Wow.
Yeah, so country can be very challenging. The other problem with country, not to go into too many sentences, but the other problem with country is that you have a lot of radio country, which is super, super popular, but you cannot dance to it. So now you're stuck with, what am I doing here? Drunk on a Plane is a great song, but you can't play it at a wedding and you can't dance to it in a bar. So what do I do now?
Juan.
I have to agree too. Country would probably be the hardest one for me. But when I am playing country, I try to find some of the faster beat type country music so I can play. If Jeremy will stop typing, but I try to play some of the faster beat countries just because it's easier to dance to. But yeah, country is definitely a lot harder for me.
And Jeremy, you're wrapping it up.
Yeah, so in Sioux Falls, I think it's expected that I think, like Jake said, that we play country. I think I've just always been anti-country. I never really got into it. It doesn't make me excited. So I think that's probably my hardest genre as well. I just don't dabble in it. Even when I do weddings, I know my minimal just to get me through a wedding. But I can dance to hip hop. I can't dance to country.
Wait a minute, you can't dance to hip hop. You're a white guy. Come on.
I can dance to hip hop. Just go see my Thriller video we just did. My Thriller flash mob. You gotta go see that.
We haven't seen that yet. From my perspective, when I was a house DJ, and this is kind of what Shani was talking about earlier, is we actually installed a system in a bar, and we were the house DJs there for 10 years. And this is something we'll have to get into in a future show. But during that time, one of the nights, because we built it up to a 5-night-a-week show, was country night. And I was really, really good after about 2 years of getting chewed out and yelled at and swore at and such by people in cowboy boots, that I knew the difference between a 2-step and a 3-step and a cha-cha and an East Coast swing and a West Coast swing. I knew all that stuff at one time, and I knew songs that would go to every one of those. So you can, again, read the crowd and know what, oh yeah, we're going to do this because I know those people over there know how to do this type of dance. So one time, country music was incredibly difficult for most people if they didn't know that, but it was really easy because I did know that. Nowadays, I couldn't, I have to go back to 90s country music or some of the things that, we play at weddings because I just don't know that anymore. It's not that popular. But thank you guys for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. We're going to wrap things up. If you guys are watching out there and you like tonight's show, please go down and kind of tell us in the comments section down below. The thumbs up is great, but give us some ideas and thoughts on what you liked about tonight's show, what you'd like to see us talk about in the future. All of those could go down in that comment section right down below all of us here, because we're doing the Brady Bunch thing right now, and that way you can help us to know what direction we should go, because it's a long winter and we want to have a lot of conversations about things that are important to you. So once again, gang, thank you for being on with us tonight. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and the crew. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.